Hump day, because I thought today was Tuesday. It's Wednesday. Check in, let me know who's here. Who's here? Looks like I have. Hi, Cara from London. KB, Dee and Heather. And Cheryl, welcome. How you doing today? And who do I have on YouTube? Looks like I have. Hi, Cara from London. KB, Dee and Heather. I don't know why I keep hearing myself speak on here, but okay. How you doing today? Who do I have on YouTube? Can you tell me if the sound is okay? Hi, Cara from London. Baby. Awesome. 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 Cheryl, welcome. But how you doing today? Who do I have on YouTube? Can you tell me if the sound is okay? Why do I hear myself talking on YouTube? That is so weird. I know, right, Dee Dee? It is so funny. So funny. Time is just flying by. Can you believe we are almost in 2026? Feels like we just got started. Feels like we just got started. And this has been one interesting year, nonetheless. Coming from Washington State, how is the weather there this time of year? It's cold and snowy here in Illinois. Yes. Yep, yep, yep. I was sick well, I wouldn't say I was sick. I was battling the cold last week. Today, feeling a lot better, sounding a lot better. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Long time no see. Snow. Yeah, it is. It's not winter yet, but it feels like it. Like we just jumped right from we had like summer, fall, and then boom, straight into winter. Rain and more rain. We are needing some snow after a drought. Thanks, Dee Dee. I don't know. I think I could probably take the rain before the snow. The snow is just hard to move in. And I realized that this is my last winter here. I'm over the snow. I've been in Chicago all my life. So I'm over the snow at this point. I prefer more sunlight, more water, less snow, and more. I gotta have more sunlight. Yeah. So thanks, Dee Dee. Thank you, soulmates, for joining. Happy Hump Day once again. And for those that don't know, those that are new to my lives or new to me, I'm Kiana Shatine. I am the healing alchemist. I'm an emotional intelligence practitioner, a spiritual teacher, and a survivor. I'm also an author and creator of Healing Out Loud. So, welcome, soulmates, because that's what this space is. This is a space that I created for for us to realize that we don't have to hold things in silence. We don't have to deal with our struggles alone because the more of us that can support each other, the better we are as a collective. So that's why I showed up here today. Because, like I said at the beginning of this live, this has been a very interesting year. I knew it would be an interesting year, but I didn't know it would look the way that it looks now. And we are almost in 2026. So we're at a point now where we get the opportunity to look back on where we were at the beginning of this year and then think about where we are now. And what do we want 2026 to look like? Because it'll be 2026 in less than what, 4 weeks? The big change moving from Seattle to Virginia was lots. I can imagine, Mark. I'm sure. Yeah. So before we get started, soulmates, let us just ground. I always like to start by grounding, because depending on where you are, you may just be getting off work, getting out of school, whatever the case may be. So I want us to be able to actually be present in this moment together. So if you are called to do so, I invite you to just allow yourself to just go inward, take a deep breath in, and just let your shoulders soften. Let your body just land right here in this moment. I don't know if you realize sometimes we walk around like this, soulmates. And then when you actually stop and check in with your body, you realize you have a lot of tension in your neck and shoulders. So relax your shoulders. The space was created for the parts of you most people never see: the emotional weight, the spiritual battles, the spiritual shifts, the memories that we've been possibly battling with, trying to release. All of the pieces of the story that deserve compassion instead of shame. That's what Healing Out Loud is about, soulmates. Here, your truth gets to breathe, your spirit gets room, and your healing gets a voice. And tonight, we're not trying to be perfect. I'm not about perfection. Nothing is about being perfect. Everything is about being present, being honest, and listening to what your heart has been whispering. For some of us, our heart has probably been whispering and telling us things all year that we've tried to ignore, avoid. Maybe it's just been a rumbling in your spirit just recently. So if you've been feeling emotional, if you've been feeling, I guess, sensitive, reflective, or maybe you're just more aware now of what's not in alignment with who you are. You're not breaking down, soulmates. You are in the awakening. The great awakening is what this has been. Been trying to educate people and explain to people all year that this entire year has been a spiritual awakening. Everything has been spiritual. And it's been bigger than just the government. It's been bigger than just the climate. Everything has been spiritual. The spirit has been shaking things up, making things crumble. Things have been shaking, falling apart. Maybe you're losing things. Maybe things are changing so fast you can't even keep up with the change. But there's a reason why. So before we get started, soulmates, I want to check in with us. I always have to do this check in because we don't always be honest. And I'm asking you, soulmates, to be completely honest on a scale of 1 to 5. How are you feeling? How are you really feeling? I don't want to hear, "Oh, I'm fine," because that's just a robotic response. We love to say I'm fine. But how is your energy? How is your emotions right now in this moment on a scale of 1 to 5? And be honest with yourself. Be honest with where you are. Because the more honest you can be about how you truly feel, what you're really feeling, is the more you're able to advocate and help yourself. Because you can't change anything. You can't fix anything if you're not willing to be honest about how you feel, what you're feeling. Hey, Felicia. Felicia says it too. Okay, Felicia. Well, I hope that by the end of the session, perhaps that two can go up to a 3 or 4. I'm not expecting perfection, but I will take a two. Anybody else want to check in? DD 2.5. I'll take that too. And like I said, hopefully by the end of the session, that number will go up. I don't know who's on YouTube, but be honest, soulmates. And I get it. It can be a 2.5 day, but you all made it to this live, so that counts for something. So I want to ask you, Felicia, Dee, if you don't mind sharing, what is sitting on your heart right now? Why the two, 2.5? What truths are you carrying that haven't been said out loud? And what would support look like for you right now in this moment? Because we are never fully sure of how we feel until we actually sit in it, until we actually allow the emotions to speak to us. Because our emotions, again, are spiritual tools. That's our connection to spirit. So when our emotions are feeling misaligned, there's a signal, there's a pause, there's something there that we have to check in with. Dee Dee says, general crankiness, a pity party that I can't shake it for about several days in a row. Has it been since the beginning of December? Probably, I would say probably the beginning of Sagittarius season. And we're going to go more into that because there's a reason why your energy is probably feeling like that. That's what this live is about. See, because December, yes, it's the 12th month of the year, it's the last month of the year, but it's deeper than just that. Because, see, December is a month that's asking us to truly slow down. It's time to pay attention to what you're feeling, not just surface emotions. I mean, the truth, the deeper ones, the ones that you keep trying to carry quietly, you keep trying to avoid. Those are the emotions. Those are the things that spirit is trying to get us to see. Maybe 4 or 5 days of ick. Well, thank you, Dee Dee, for being honest. And again, you're in the right place because I know what that ick feels like. And if it's one thing I can say about Insight Timer, it can get you out of that ick if you're willing to do the work. So keep showing up, beautiful. But this month is definitely a month where we've not been able to outrun anything all year. Even though we've tried. Most of the time as humans, we try. Or we don't even realize it because we go through the motions. We go to work, we take care of the kids, we do the basics. But do we ever stop and sit still enough to allow ourselves to check in with our bodies, with our emotions, with our souls? Felicia says, I've been so unhappy in my relationship that has turned into a roommate situation. It's been 5 years of this, and I know I need to end this, but I can't seem to find my voice in the situation. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's just not my person. Thank you, Felicia, for sharing that. And again, that's what this year has been revealing. You're not the only one, Felicia. I shared this last week. There have been so many women that I've been working with that are going through the exact situation that you're in, and men, but clients of mine have been women, and they're starting to realize that we're in relationships and situations that are no longer aligned with who we are today. And I get it. It's a tough spot because you've been with this person for 5 years. And it's not easy to just walk away from a life that you've built that has been this way for so long. Trust me, I've been divorced. I've gone through. I was in your shoes a few months ago. So I understand that that shift is not easy. And Felicia, you deserve to be happy. Absolutely, you do. I'm also in my 40s. But what I had to learn, Felicia, is happiness starts with us. And even when I was in a similar situation as you, and it wasn't the ideal environment, I made sure I was happy. When I woke up every morning, I made sure I was grounded. I was at peace because the other person that I was living with was not always in a state of peace. So I had to do everything within me to make sure that my emotional and mental state was in a good place. So I would advise you to start with self, Felicia, because once you're grounded, once your energy is right, that's when spirit can get your attention. That's when you can start figuring out what to do next. You can't figure out the next step. You can't even hear spirit when your energy is so low, when you're stuck in the negative emotions and focused on somebody else and how they're treating you or how they're feeling and how it affects you. We can't be the best us when we're focusing on someone else. And because everything is so spiritual, everything is energy right now, we have to separate. We have to allow certain people to leave because certain energies are no longer aligned with us. And that's what spirit has been revealing. And December is the month that is coming in loud and clear because it is the last month of the year. And also, there's been a lot that has unfolded. And this is just the beginning. The next couple of years, even 2026, will still be an adjustment period. But if we started now in 2025, you'll see that things are starting to be highlighted in your life, things that are no longer fitting in your spirit. What is dealing, whatever is showing up now, it's a reason. It's time to face it because let's be honest, it can't go with us in 2026. If we're trying to evolve and if we're trying to grow and if we're looking for happiness and we're looking for peace, certain people, certain things, certain environments just are not conducive to the highest version of you. You can't grow in places and spaces that are not meant for you to grow in. And so this month, December, that's what it's revealing. And this energy is not here to overwhelm us. So I know you all are feeling the energy, you're feeling the shift. And the first few weeks of December is going to be like this. By the end of the month, things should start to feel a little smoother. Once the planets start to get direct again, things will start to shift. But most importantly, this month is trying to show you what's awakening inside of you. So it's bringing emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence. and clarity all coming together now in a way that is forcing you, soulmates, to see what your heart has been whispering all along. This is not working for me. I am not happy here. So, what has December been trying to show you that you are just not fully acknowledging? And I want you to sit with that for a minute, soulmates, and just let that sink. And if you want to share it, please feel free to do so. See, on the calendar, December is the last month of the year, but astrologically, it's really not. However, because we consider this the end of the year, most often than not, people look at different things. They think about New Year's resolutions. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But realistically, what we really need to be thinking about is the internal shifts. If we're saying we want to be a better version of us come 2026, and I always tell people it's never too early, it's never too late. But if that's what you want, then how bad do you want it? And let me ask you, soulmates, if spirit gave you the ultimatum, spirit says, I will give you happiness, I will give you prosperity, I will give you peace. All I ask is that you heal your emotional wounds, your trauma, your grief. If spirit is asking you to grow and evolve, and in exchange will give you all that your heart desire, would you do it? Would you be willing to do the hard work of seeing yourself and actually making a change in order to receive everything that spirit has promised? Would you do it? And that's a powerful question, but I ask that because for me, that's where I was at the beginning of 2025. That's where I was at because I was going through a lot at the beginning of this year in the first quarter. And there was a moment where I had to ask myself, are you sure this is really what you want? Do you want to just walk away? Yeah. Can you guys hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. What about your self-awareness? How many of you have noticed your self-awareness evolving this year? Have you noticed how more self-aware you are of the way you think, the way you move? Every day I get up, every morning I get up and I check in with myself. Who am I going to be today? When I show up in the world, when I walk out of my door, who am I? How do I make sure that no matter what happens outside of me, I'm okay? And what do we need to release emotionally? That's what this season is about. We get the courage now to finally speak up about anything that we've been carrying, especially if there's been a situation occurring in your relationships. You said you can't hear, Lisa? I'm not sure why you can't hear. Oh, that is so weird. Okay. Hold on. That is so strange. Let me make sure I got my audio right. Can you hear now? Ah, okay. See, I just talked about Mercury retrograding. Still messing up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know why that is. And that is so strange because I can see you guys over here. That's weird, but I will try to refresh it. Let me refresh it. Yes, you guys can hear on YouTube, but they can't hear on Insight Timer. All right, how about now? Because they just said it got blurry. See what I mean about that energy? You can't make this stuff up. How about now? Can you hear me now? Awesome. Thank you, soulmates. So what truths have you been carrying that deserve to be spoken now, soulmates? It's 2025. And if you're not going to carry it into 2026, what do you need to say? What needs to be released? And that can be a conversation, something you need to admit to yourself. It can be somebody that you're in a relationship with. It could be your job. Just let it sit with you. And we also have Venus and Mars are both in Sagittarius right now. So if you are having a relationship shift, then that would probably be some of the reason why. Because now we have to realign. We have to realize that certain connections are not meant for us anymore. Have you been carrying the emotional baggage in your relationship? How many of you carry the emotional weight? I realize for me, in all of my relationships, I oftentimes was trying to fix my person emotionally because I'm a healer. So what do? Heal people heal. But it's not my job to heal my person. And when I realized that that's the way I show up, I said no more. I had to be accountable for the way I show up. Lisa says I'm starting to sit with my feelings. Good for you, Lisa. Allow yourself to sit with them. Don't judge your feelings. Don't shame yourself. Don't feel guilty about them because feelings are not bad. They just are. But if you can allow yourself to even hear your feelings and to sit with it, that's the first step. Because when you can sit with yourself, especially sit with yourself and your emotions, that's how you become one of the most powerful, spiritually grounded people ever. And that's what I had to learn. Because for somebody like me who struggled with feeling powerless over my emotions most of my life, always trying to find somebody to fill the void, I couldn't figure that out until I had to sit with myself. I'm proud of you too, Lisa. Keep going. Keep getting the support. And go and do get the therapy. I always tell people go to therapy. But outside of the therapy, you still need to make sure that you have other work that's going to allow you to integrate everything that you're sitting in therapy to do. Because yes, you have a therapist. They allow you to speak what you're dealing with. They'll give you diagnosis. But when you go home, how do you integrate all of the things that you were taught? And what I've learned outside of therapies, there's a spiritual piece. Because even though mentally we feel imbalanced, it starts with our emotions. And that's the way spirit is speaking to us, through our emotions. So right now, Venus is putting a spotlight on emotional alignment. Who feels like they're draining you emotionally, spiritually draining you? Who have you outgrown emotionally? Are you showing up for friends and family, but you're tired? How many of us always say, yes, I'm going to do, but realistically, you don't want to? Be honest about it. Where has your heart quietly closed? How many of us are now jaded? We're no longer even willing to open up to love anymore. Or maybe your heart is starting to open, but now you're ready to match somebody that can match you in your growth. See, I'm trying to attract somebody that can reflect the light parts of me, not the shadow parts. Lisa says, me, I've been hurt so many times. So true. Some days I feel like throwing a towel, but I keep pushing. Lisa, and I understand, and you're human. And some days it will feel like that. But it's in those days and it's in those moments that you are definitely being tested. And that's when spirit is really trying to get our attention. It's just when you get ready to throw the towel in. That's at the, like I say, the 11th hour is really when it's time for you to hear the message, because that's what it is. Our emotions are messengers. Then you get quiet and you start to realize something more is going on here. There's something beneath this. So allow yourself to heal, Lisa. And I get it. We've all been hurt, and I understand. But don't allow the hurt to define you. So that's why I'm the healing alchemist, because I turn my pain into purpose. For every time I've been hurt, I win. Because that's the one thing about that. When spirit is closing the door, when you allow spirit to remove things, people, when certain people show you who they are and they disappoint you, it wasn't by accident. It happened for you. Because for one thing, you had to learn a lesson, right? And if you learn the lesson, then you won't allow it to happen again. Then you start to think differently. You start to move differently. You start to choose differently. So then you won't be in a state of allowing people to hurt us, because hurt people hurt people. So I'm not attracting anybody that's going to hurt me, because I'm not one to hurt them. Venus and Sag isn't just about romance, though. It's definitely about truth. It's honestly asking yourself, is this person that I'm with, are they really in alignment with me? Do they match where I'm going, where I'm growing? And everybody just can't go. And as hard as that is to accept, trust me, it's hard to realize that not everybody is meant to grow with you. But then it comes a point when you have to make a choice. Are you going to stay loyal to people that realistically are not allowing you to be the best version of you? Or are you going to choose you and allow you to grow? And maybe they can grow with you. Or maybe they'll catch up later, but at some point, you have to choose you first. And God will keep showing me until I learn, and this time I'm done. I'm protecting my peace. Peace is the new wealth. That is exactly what this year has shown you, and that's what Spirit has probably been revealing to you all along, Lisa. And now in December, you're starting to see that. See, Mars is also in Sag. So now you have Mars and Venus, and the Sun is in Sagittarius. Mars is about movement, direction, it's desire, the courage. So it's pushing you into alignment. See, that's what Spirit does. Spirit is going to nudge us to get us into alignment. But if we're not paying attention, if we're not doing the work, and if we're not trusting, then we don't understand. And like I said, we can resist, we can keep going off track, or we can pay attention, actually start to do the work, start to heal, start to grow our self-awareness, then understand, where am I aligning? It's not about doing anything with urgency. It's just about being honest. You don't have to be aggressive. It's just being honest, having the courage to allow your soul to speak to you and lead the way Spirit created us to be. So for some of you who feel tired, maybe you have been feeling tired because you're tired of carrying somebody else's energy. Maybe you're pretending to be happy. I did that for a long time too. I was the queen of pretending to be happy in relationships. Or maybe you're tired of carrying everything alone. Again, that was also me. Held in a lot of things, carried a lot of things alone. But you have to make the choice to choose you. The clarity to stop settling for what's less than you. If you don't know you deserve better, soulmates, then how will you receive it? You have to make the choice, and you have to have the strength to move differently.
Then that's when Mars and Sagittarius is asking, where is life calling you to be braver, soulmates? Not necessarily louder, but just braver. This too shall pass. And we are also in a water trine. So we have Saturn in Pisces. We have Jupiter retrograding in Cancer. And we also have Neptune direct. So we have what they call a water trine. So right now it's about emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, because again, everything is spiritual. And you know, Saturn is a planet that's very much about the structure, the stability. It wants you to be more responsible for your emotional and mental well-being. It wants you to stop overextending, people pleasing, self-abandoning, because why? We don't have to do any of that. When your intuition has been whispering no, but you keep saying yes. So you don't even allow yourself to trust your gut. Where is your energy leaking? Because we have been leaking energy, and if you've been paying attention, and if you notice when you're around certain people, certain environments, you feel it in your body. Notice the conversations you have. How do you feel when you walk away from those people? Or when you get off the phone with them, do you feel energized? Or do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel tired? So you're leaking energy. And sometimes people will dump their negative energy on you and you don't even realize that you're absorbing it. It took me years to see how I was carrying other people's energy. And I couldn't understand, well, why am I feeling this way when I was just fine? That's what this year has been trying to reveal to us, soulmates. We have to wake up and see that now is not the time to play with your time, energy, money, resources. We have to choose us first. Where are you carrying somebody else's emotional baggage? It's not yours. Even as a healer, I had to realize it's not my baggage. I hold your hand while you save yourself, but I'm not here to carry it for you. And that goes for friends, family, my son. I don't carry anybody's emotional weight because I don't have to. My emotional weight is enough. So what boundary is your spirit asking you to honor right now? Not from a place of fear, not from trauma, because believe it or not, half of us are trauma bonded with people that we don't even realize we're in. We're in a trauma bond. We stay with people because we've been in the situation for years, or because for financial reasons, or all of the reasons except a reason to actually make you be a better person. Are they helping you grow? Are they helping you evolve? Can you see a future? Like, what are we planning? Because I realize for me, if I don't see the God in my person, if I can't see a man that's leading with integrity, with righteousness, honesty, then it's not the person for me. So there are things I look for now that I didn't look for before. Because I realize if I want to find me in them, then I have to lead as such. We can't attract anything that we don't already have within us. So think about when you're, and even for you, Lisa, I know you said that you don't want to open up your heart again, and I don't believe that to be true, because we are loving beings. Like, Spirit created us to love and to be loved. But when you do allow yourself to open up your heart again, you'll be a different woman. Because of all the lessons that you've learned, you won't allow yourself to attract from that place again. You'll be a different woman. You'll attract differently. You'll no longer feel like you're attracting people that will hurt you. That's it. Just keep it up. Take it one day at a time. And now we also have Neptune finally direct in Pisces. So maybe your intuition has been louder than ever, even if you've been ignoring it. Has your intuition been louder? Has it been more direct? And when I say, I know a lot of people say, well, what's my intuition? You know your intuition because your mind will tell you no. Your body will tell you no. But then oftentimes we say yes, or we ignore it. I know I did. I did it for a very long time. Not anymore. I can't doubt my intuition. That's how spirit communicates. So if we're not going to trust our intuition, then what's the point? Spirit is not going to continue to communicate if we're not listening, we're not paying attention. My intuition was speaking to me last week when I got offered an opportunity to travel somewhere last minute. And the old me probably would have said yes and took this person up on this opportunity to go to New York. But my intuition kept saying, no, don't do it. Something about this does not feel right. So I trust my gut and I didn't move on with it. I didn't go through with the plans. Felicia says, I feel like I carry so much emotional weight of others. I don't want to ask my friends, a partner to leave because I really don't want to hurt him. I also know he's not in a great space financially and fear he won't have a place to go. I understand, Felicia. Have you all had a conversation about it yet? And I know right now, financially, it's difficult for a lot of people. And a lot of people are living with people they don't even want to be with anymore for financial reasons. But also, ask yourself, and he would have to ask himself, are you happy though? How does it feel to be in that space, knowing that you're not in relationship like that? But yet, what I hear you saying is, I don't want to put him out because I feel sorry for him, and I get it. But he may be in a position to move out if you all have the conversation and come up with a plan. Because I also believe that just because you break up doesn't mean it has to be nasty. It doesn't have to be ugly. We can walk away amicably. We can just come up with a plan on how it's going to look. But it doesn't have to be awkward. And it definitely doesn't need to be toxic. So allow yourself to have the conversations and then decide from there. And I get it. You want to make sure you hold space for them, but you also don't want to be an enabler, Felicia. So just something to think about. But when your intuition is speaking to you, I know for me, like I said, my intuition was loud and clear last week. No, don't do it. But not only that, my dreams have been so vivid. And I don't know if you all have been paying attention to your dreams, but for the last week, my dreams speaking so loud. I get it. That's part of that Pisces and Neptune energy. So anything that you're dealing with in your waking life is showing up in your dreams, the subconscious. That doesn't look like it looks in real life. But pay attention to your dreams because they're trying to reveal something to you. And I know for me, my dreams have been showing me that I have finally released certain energies. I finally let go of other people's emotional baggage because I deserve that. And also, I made the choice. This energy now is giving you the clarity to finally be honest and to see things for what they really are. You see people for who they really are, but be grateful because we want to see people for who they are, especially now. Again, I told you before, the masks are coming down. There's nothing you can do about it because that's the energy, and that's what 2025 has been about. Answers come to you in dreams. You feel it. Your emotional intelligence has evolved. For me, it has always been this way, but for the last few years, the emotional intelligence has really increased because when I'm around certain people, I can feel when they're not okay. I can feel the energy the minute I walk in the room. It's the quiet sense of knowing whether or not these people are for me or if this is a space that I don't need to be in. Because the body knows. The body already knows before our minds can even catch up. And please believe your spirit knows. It's just the mind. It's the monkey mind. It's like our brains will try to tell us one thing, but everything else is telling us something else. Start trusting what your body, what your intuition is speaking to you. That's a powerful tool to have. We don't utilize it, but it's such a powerful tool. Then we also have Jupiter right now, like I said, in Cancer going retrograde. So this is calling for emotional, this period is emotional healing, but also inner child healing. So any of your childhood wounds, they are being exposed. They are there whether you realize it or not. Your desire now for emotional safety probably is evolving. And the capacity for healing. I am so proud of how many, I've had a lot of men, especially at the beginning of the year, reach out to me about healing. They want to do emotional healing. They want to grow. Now, at the same time, they were also trying to overstep my boundary. But I do see that they are awakening and they're starting to see that there's some things about them that they don't no longer want to do. They no longer want to lead that way. I was actually at a podcast last night, and one of the questions that they asked I can't recall what the question was, but one of the panelists, he mentioned how as a man, they have been conditioned to lead a certain way. Most men try to lead with their wallets or something else. All of the things that I've always said is not what love is about. And on the podcast, I said, because most of you all are still leading from your wounded inner child. There's an inner child, we all have one. And we don't realize that we have been conditioned from the moment we got into this world to lead a certain way. So for the divine masculine, most men have always been taught, I have to have money. Let me show this woman I have this money and prove to her that I can take care of her. I can buy her. And then we have the toxic world that we've been living in now, where as a Black woman, I've always felt like we've been hypersexualized, where our value has always been placed on our looks and our bodies. And it's disgusting, number one. But number two, that was never the way the world was supposed to be. Nobody should feel like their value is based off of their body or their looks. So this Jupiter in Cancer, or retrograding in Cancer right now, is bringing out all of the things that we need to release within us, within our inner child. For me, my inner child was always afraid of speaking up. My inner child always people pleased. Not anymore. Hey, April, how you doing, beautiful? We get the opportunity now to heal, to let go of these things. And the energy now is creating the clarity for you to see what no longer feels supportive and what's no longer aligned. Jupiter retrograding is not about regression, see? It's a reflection. It's showing you what you've outgrown emotionally and what you're no longer willing to carry forward if you choose to let it go. What emotional patterns can you no longer carry with you in 2026? This is a 9-year soulmates. So a lot of things have to be closed out. I know for me, I will never be the same woman I was at the beginning of the year. I will never be the same woman I was in October, in November, because I've seen the wounds, the things, the decisions, the choices, the way that I was leading. And I made the conscious choice to say, I will not continue to be that way, Spirit. Not if I'm going to continue to do what I'm called here to do. I can't continue to show up that way, especially in the world we're living in now. What emotional patterns can you no longer carry in 2026? Because see, that answer right there, soulmates, that is your freedom. This water trine is about the head and the heart being in alignment. Your spirit also speaking the same truth. All of them, head, heart, mind, body, and soul. So the month of December, we're sitting under this powerful water trine. All of it is about feelings because, again, it's a water sign, so it's all about feelings and emotions, your intuition, spiritual intelligence. Everything is finally starting to sync. So if you're not feeling clearer, maybe you're feeling the shift. Maybe there's something inside of you in your life, something that's showing you this isn't the way I want this to be, or this is no longer working for me. Are you feeling like yourself? Are you feeling like your normal self? For most of us, we're not, and we can't make sense of it. That's why I create Healing Out Loud, to show people you're not crazy. You're not alone in this. You're going through the awakening. There's a spiritual, emotional shakeup that we're having for a reason. And I'm going to ask you again, soulmates. If spirit, if God is all that is, whatever you choose to believe in, said, I will give you a life of love, prosperity, wealth, abundance. All I ask you to do is just heal, evolve, grow into a higher version of you. Would you do it? Would you be willing to do the work? That's a powerful thing to do. That's a powerful question to ask, and just sit with it. How many of you have been experiencing any emotional memories resurfacing? I thought I was going through a midlife crisis when all of a sudden I started having all kind of memories from my childhood. Things I hadn't thought about since I was 10 and 11. And it started to make sense because I had to see them. And then most often than not, when something is coming back up from your past, when people are showing up from your past past memories. Again, spirit is trying to get us to see something. There's something we need to close out, something we need to acknowledge. There are old wounds rising for release. Your heart is ready to soften. Allow yourself to free yourself from anything that is holding you down, that's holding you back, that's stopping you from receiving the love, the prosperity, the abundance, whatever it is, the happiness, the peace that you seek. This water trine is all about emotional awakening. It's not about chaos, even though it feels chaotic, because when you can't make sense of what's going on internally and around you, it will create chaos. It's human nature for us to question and try to make sense of things. But now is not the time for you to use your logical brain alone. It's about head and heart alignment. All of it has to be in alignment now. We can't just make choices based off of one thing anymore. So this month is not here to overwhelm us. Today is December 3rd. So we have 28 more days left in this month, in this year. This energy that we're in now is trying to show you what your spirit is outgrowing so you don't have to carry it into 2026. Where is alignment calling you, soulmates? What part of you is ready to shift? And maybe you don't know, but maybe you know that there's something that does need to shift and you just don't know where to begin. See, I always incorporate the astrology because for me, the astrology is like the weather, right? But our emotions are the forecast. And see, our spirits, that's the translation. So when you're going through these shifts right now, and I did a check-in at the beginning of the live, soulmates, how are you feeling on a scale of 1 through 5? And I had a couple of my soulmates say they feel like a 2, a 2.5. And that's understandable because we are going through a lot emotionally. A lot is coming up. A lot of things are starting to be exposed, not to overwhelm you, but to free you, to see it. Because once it's out there, once you see it, once it's in the opening, and that's the thing, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So you just make the choice to decide, what do I do with this now? Do you allow it to overwhelm you, or do you face it and start to see that maybe this is just no longer who I am anymore? This has been holding me back. Are there conversations that you still need to have? Chapters that still need to be closed? What versions of you have you not attended to yet? What have you not paid attention to within yourself? Have you been feeling nostalgic lately? Emotional for no reason? Reflecting on old relationships? Even current relationships? Again, all of this is happening for you. It's trying to show you there's something here that's no longer with you. If spirit could get our attention the best way that it can, it will. But we don't usually listen. So then it takes something drastic to happen before we have to be forced to change. Why not just take accountability and make the shift for yourself? Make the change. And if something is already rising in you right now, soulmates, that's your answer. That's your response. And if you want to share, feel free to do so. Because again, this is a safe space, soulmates. You don't have to hold it in. You don't have to do this alone. And for anybody going through a relationship shift right now, that's what this energy is here to do. Relationship clarity especially. Because we are growing. We are evolving. And some of us are just not evolving at the same time. Some of us have completely gave up. I had somebody that said, I could do it, but I don't want to do it. None of this is scaring me. I said, you're going to kill yourself because you're always anxious and stressed. And they said, well, that doesn't scare me. Even though somebody close to me just recently died from a heart attack at 39 because of stress and anxiety, but you're not scared. See, what else does spirit need to do? Spirit will sit you down if you don't pay attention. If you don't make the conscious choice to check in with those emotions, because our emotions are literally energy in motion. So allow yourself to feel the energy, release the energy. And the people that are draining your energy, you have to do something with the energetic leaks. Who are you shrinking around? Who makes you feel heavy? I was with somebody that energy was heavy. And as much and love and light that I bring, and I kept trying to balance it out, and it was just too much. It was too much. And I had to make the choice to say, I can't stay here anymore. If this is overwhelming me, I can't hear spirit when I'm here dealing with this heavy energy. You're draining me. But who adds peace? Who brings peace to your life? Who brings balance? And maybe you haven't found those people yet, but there are people out there that can match your flow. They can match your frequency if you allow those that are not in alignment to be removed. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your foot in one timeline and then in the other timeline. See, this year you have to make a decision. Who do you want to be in 2026? Where do you want to be in 2026? Start there and then think about where you are now. Who shows up for you consistently? What does that look like for you? What does alignment look like? Because I talk about alignment a lot. Because when I say alignment, I'm saying once you've healed, once you've done the work, and you allow spirit to speak through you, now you can align with the path that you're truly meant to be on. It took me 2 years to get to this point where I'm at now. I probably shouldn't even say 2 years. 2 years consciously, but it took me probably 42 years to get here because for most of my life, I could not understand. I was running from my emotions. I wasn't listening to what spirit was trying to get me to see when I was having these emotional breakdowns or feeling depressed or feeling anxious. See, I just gave in to the feelings. I gave in to the label instead of listening and checking in with myself and paying attention to what it was my heart was trying to get me to see. Allow yourself to sometimes you just have to make peace with unresolved problems. Sometimes you may not always get the answer from the person or whatever the outcome is, but you have to make peace for yourself and be willing to make a choice to say, I'm going to move on or I'm going to do something differently. And if you are in a space where you made the choice to close the door on somebody or you made the choice to walk away from a relationship, how do you feel now? And who do you feel differently about now and why? Maybe you've met somebody that is different, or maybe you haven't. But be aware of when you start to meet people, because that's what I know for sure is when spirit says it's time to walk away, and when you make the choice to let something go, when you walk away from a situation that has expired, oh, there will be another person that will reveal themselves soon enough. But then that's when your discernment has to come in, because you don't know if this is the right person for you, this chapter of your life, this version of you, or is this just another test? And is this just another person like I was just with in a different skin suit? That's why you got to understand and be able to trust your intuition, because that will help you, that will guide you, that will lead you. Your body will tell you whether or not somebody is safe to be around. So let that truth be your guide. And then this month is also bringing about emotional courage. Your voice is waking up. We have a full moon in Gemini tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yes. And as you know, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, planet of communication. So maybe there's a truth that needs to be revealed. And maybe it's about to come out, because that's what a full moon will do. It's going to reveal it. It's going to be released. And I always tell people it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if there's something that needs to be said, and if something you've been pushing down, things you've been carrying in the silence, it wants to be released. It wants to be revealed. So if you're saying I'm tired, I'm hurt, I don't want this anymore, I don't need this anymore, and I deserve better, then guess what? You're right where you need to be. That's part of the liberation. That's part of being free. It's not about confrontation. Because when you start to love you first, and when you love you enough to know that certain things, certain people, certain places are just not healthy for you, you choose you first and say, I love me enough to know that I deserve more than this. And no disrespect to anybody else, but I have to do what's right for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Even if somebody tries to make you feel bad for choosing you, well, that's on them. Because at the end of the day, nobody lives in their bodies but you, soulmates. So why are we sacrificing our peace and happiness to make somebody else happy when we're not okay? Where are you being silent when you know you need to speak up? And if that answer stunk, then that's the spot. That's where your awakening is unfolding. Ending now, all of these relationships that are no longer in relationship, well, that's because it was no longer meant to be. And maybe you can get it back, but most often than not, you can't, because people really aren't able to grow and evolve at the same path, the same pace anymore, unless you make the conscious choice to do that. And I know for me, I feel like all year I've just been trying to find like-minded individuals, like-minded partners that are willing to evolve, to do the spiritual work, to be emotionally intelligent, to be self-aware. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but I'm not giving up, because I know that those that are meant to be in alignment with me will find me. Allow any old patterns to break. Any old patterns that are no longer healthy for you, even the ones that you've inherited, learned, anything that you survived. This season right now is exposing that. So if you're tired of choosing unavailable people, of carrying somebody else's weight, then this is your opportunity to say so. Speak up. Stop trying to be strong instead of just being honest, because that's where the strength comes in at. What pattern is December asking you to stop repeating? Because we will do the same things repeatedly, because as humans, we only know what we know. We just know what we've always been conditioned. For me, I've always known to just give, regardless of how I felt. That was one of the things that came up for me during this recent energy, is that the people pleasing came from being molested as a child. As long as I gave myself to somebody else for them to feel good, then that was okay. And for years, I continued to believe that. Imagine you sacrificing yourself for somebody else. That's not healthy. And there's definitely not love. But I thought that that's what love looked like, because that's how I was conditioned. That was the way my inner child believed love to be. So if your heart and your energy and the way you're feeling things now is shaking, welcome to the awakening. How many of you feel like your heart is opening? I know somebody said their heart is not open. I don't want you to close your heart, soulmates. Don't close the heart. Our love is our most powerful gift to give. And I will always be a loving being, and always forever be in a state of giving and receiving love. And when I say love, I don't mean sacrificing myself. I mean showing up for people, holding space for people. And sometimes you can love people from a distance. There are people that I no longer communicate with. Doesn't mean I stop loving them, but I just have to protect my peace. Oh, thank you, Jen. That's all. That's all that it is. Maybe some of you are just tired of trying. I know so many people, especially women, we will keep trying and we will keep trying, and it's just not working, sis. Let it go. Why are you holding on to this person and you know you're not happy? You know you're tired. Let it go. Find your peace of mind. Because the sooner you find that peace and love within, is the sooner you'll find it from someone else. But again, you can't find anything that you don't already have. Some of us want love, but we don't even trust our heart. We don't even trust ourselves to receive the love. And maybe you're like me, you're just ready to be met differently. All of it is human. All of it is human. None of it is right nor wrong. It just is. Again, this is about honesty and clarity. What is your heart ready for? And what are you protecting yourself from? Because see, that's the thing about love. We swear we're trying to block out certain things, but I can't see us keeping our hearts open, yet saying that I'm not going to allow. I'm going to protect, but I'm also not going to waste it. What is the truth in your body's telling you? The left side of my body was in so much pain this time last year, soulmates. I don't know if you recall. I had very bad rotator cuff pain. The left side is the feminine side. That's the receiving side. And I was going through a very toxic situation where I kept feeling like I wasn't being heard. I wasn't being understood. And my body felt it. Jen says, I never connected it to being molested as a child by my biological father. It absolutely makes sense. I know, Jen, most of us don't. They even talked about that on a podcast last night. Even the men talked about that. I think the question was, I don't know what the question was, if you found out your partner had a child molestation record from 30 years ago, would you still date them? And then it changed into statutory rape. And then it was, well, if a 16-year-old boy engages with a female teacher, he would get a pat on the back. And I kept saying, but that is not healthy. That doesn't make sense, because as a grown woman, as an adult, having intercourse and having a sexual affair with a 16-year-old boy is not healthy, because mentally and emotionally, they're not mature enough to handle what comes along with that. See, we've been using sex and love for all the wrong reasons. We're using it as tools, as transactions, and it is disgusting. It is not the world we're supposed to be living in now. So we have to be accountable. We have to respect ourselves first and realize that anytime somebody oversteps our boundaries, it's not okay, especially when it comes to our children. All of the conditioning has to be unlearned. None of it is right. But because we live in a ass backwards world that says it's okay for a young boy to have an affair with a female teacher, but then a male teacher to have an affair with the young girl, he gets hard time. Make it make sense, soulmates. None of it is healthy and none of it is right. And then what happens? They grow up and become unhealed adults, sexual deviants. They look at sex as something, as a tool, like I said, as a transaction. You feel unsafe in your body because mentally and emotionally, Jen, we were too young to understand what was happening to us as children. So, of course, as we get older, we don't feel safe in our bodies because our bodies have been taken from us since before we could even understand what was happening. Absolutely. People pleasing always, trying to fix others and help them heal. It is not your job. And it was never our job. The divine feminine is absolutely the spiritual leader. And we are the ones that teach the divine masculine how to embrace their emotions. But we don't have to hold and carry their emotions. And that's what I had to learn. I can be a safe space for you, but I will not carry your weight. Everybody has to have emotional accountability, emotional independence. So if you're feeling pain in your shoulders, how many of you get anxiety and you feel it in your stomach? You feel it in your sacral or your solar plexus. Yes. Listen to that. Allow your body to tell you something's not right. You go to sleep, you wake up in the middle of the night. How many of you are suffering with insomnia? All of these are signs that your body is trying to get you to pay attention to. The emotions, the energy that needs to be released is going to come out one way or the other. Either you're going to acknowledge them and do the emotional healing, or your body is going to keep trying to signal to you, we're not okay. Something's not right. Something in the milk ain't clean. You can't sleep. You're probably overeating, drinking, doing everything except just listening to your bodies. My body is aching right now. Oh, Lisa, I'm so sorry to hear that. Can you do sometimes what I like to do is Epsom salt baths with essential oils, almost kind of like a cleansing bath, or even if you have baking soda, whatever you can, allow yourself to just soak. Because when my body was feeling like that, Lisa, all I did was take baths. I stayed in the bathtub, and when I would get out, I would feel so much better. Because for me, that's the way I stay grounded. I am a water sign, but that's the way for me to make sure I'm taking care of my body while also meditating and resting at a decent hour, allowing myself enough time to rest. Oh, good. Good, Lisa. But pay attention to these intuitive whispers that your body is trying to signal to you. Because right now, soulmates, our bodies have not spoken to us. I can't tell you how many men under the age of 50, actually men under the age of 45 that I've met this year that have had strokes. I've never in my entire life heard of people this young having strokes. What do you think this is about, soulmates? We can't keep burning ourselves out. We can't keep sacrificing our body at the expense of somebody else. Because if we're working so hard, overwhelming ourselves, and if we're not physically here to appreciate it, then what are we doing it for? If I can't even appreciate all of the hard work that I'm doing because I'm working so hard and now I can't because my body is telling me no, or if I die because I've overworked myself, then what was it all for? Your body echoes when it's not okay. And once that truth rises, soulmates, once your truth has been revealed, like I said, you can't unsee it. So how do you release this? The release becomes unavoidable at this point unless you just make the conscious choice to say, I don't want to release it. And sometimes it's not like a loud release, it's a silent release. You get the choice to say, I've outgrown this. Spiritually, I've outgrown this. Emotionally, I've outgrown this. When you can answer that question, when you can get honest with yourself, that's when the next chapter begins. That's when the healing starts. Jen says, I've been having insomnia for the past year. It's been brutal. I am taking a shower after this and then soaking in Celtic salt and lavender oil. I am working on figuring out why I'm not sleeping. I'm embracing it instead of condemning it. And I'm glad that you're aware of it, Jen. And continue to do what you need to do to make sure that you're at a rested space. I know for me, I don't know if this would be helpful for you, but sometimes I listen to sleep meditations. I actually do a sleep meditation. They have a few sleep meditations on Insight Timer that I would often listen to, and that would get me into a calm space, and I would go right to sleep. So again, soulmates, this month, December, the 12th month, in the year of 9, is revealing everything that can't go with us. We can't carry that into 2026. This month is asking you to remember it's okay to care for people, but you can't heal them. It's okay to love people, but you can't overgive to them. We get to release attachments to outcomes that we've been trying to control. Listen, one thing about life, I've learned I can't control anything outside of me. I can't control what happens when I walk out my door. I can't control what happens when I go into the store. I don't know what anything or anybody or whatever's going to happen, but I know no matter what, I'm going to be in a space where I'm at peace because that's the only thing I have control over. And even if I get overwhelmed and challenged by my emotions during my day, again, I still have control over how I react and how I respond to the emotion. See, some of you have been holding on to the potential instead of the reality of what's really happening in your life and in your relationships. You've been trying to control something that your spirit is asking you to release. Again, why are we in situations that are not for us? What are we holding on to? Attachment is not love. Attachment is fear. Alignment is love. Choosing what's right for you is love. I listen to the sounds of nature and it helps me. Thank you, Jen, for the donation. Lisa says, I'm doing less social media in 2026. You know what, Lisa? I don't blame you. I always would do a social media detox. In fact, when I first got on Insight Timer, I was doing one 2 years ago. I can't do it now because I do a lot of spreading and sharing my message on social media because I'm committed to making sure that the message of healing and emotional intelligence gets out to the collective any way I can. So I don't fast as much, but do what you have to do for your health and your well-being, Jen. And then I also tell people that once you start to look at certain content, you start to follow certain influencers, your algorithm will change. So the things that you see should no longer look toxic. At least that's what I see on my timeline. I no longer see toxic things because I no longer look at toxic stuff. I basically attract what it is that I want on my social media, on my timelines. So what are you holding on to right now, soulmates, that your spirit is ready for you to let go of? Maybe it's a habit. Maybe it's the way you eat. I have to be honest. I love spicy food, but my body is saying I can't eat it anymore. I have to let it go. I'm having a hard time accepting it because that was always my favorite thing to eat, was something spicy. I love spices, but they don't agree with me anymore. And then I have to ask myself, is it really worth it, Kiana? Because you're in excruciating pain right now because you made the choice to eat these peppers. Your body keeps telling you you can't eat it, yet you keep eating it. I've been eating unhealthy, which is also taking a toll. Your body and what you feed it absolutely will affect your mental and emotional health. I honestly, Lisa, since I've stepped into my spiritual path and fully embraced this journey, my eating is different. My body craves different types of food. I just allow my body to tell me when to eat now. I used to be one of those people that would eat when they were bored. I used to be an emotional eater. If I was depressed, I wouldn't eat at all. If I was feeling good and if I was with somebody that ate, like if I had a partner that ate all the time, I would eat with them. Now I just listen to my body because our emotions, anything that's out of alignment, that's out of balance, Lisa, it's going to affect the way you eat, the way you think, the way you sleep. This is why emotional intelligence is so important. This is why I teach about this, because when those emotions are not right, everything is out of balance. Everything is off track. You can't think clearly if your heart is not okay. You can't sleep if the heart is not okay because now your brain is constantly going. See, it's all connected. You can't sleep if you're eating foods that are not agreeing with your body because that doesn't feel healthy neither. So what are you holding on to, soulmates, that you're not taking with you in 2026? I realize I'm not eating any more of the spicy food. I give up. I just won't do it. It's not worth it. See, we can make those small little conscious choices. That's what liberation is. I get to free myself and say, you know what? I don't need this anymore. There are certain people I don't even talk to anymore because I realize this is not even helping me. These people are not helping me. This conversation is not helping me because I'm spending time. I realized I was spending time communicating with people, holding space for their emotional baggage when I could have been pouring that time and energy into what I do, helping heal the collective, focus on healing out loud, connecting with people in real time. I can't do that if again, my energy is leaking out into people and places and spaces that are not for me. Release anything that is keeping you small, most importantly, soulmates. Any truths that you have been swallowing for years, opinions you never shared, needs you've never expressed, or any feelings that you have been trying to numb to feel safer. It's time for it to be exposed. This is your 9th year. That means that version of you, you have to let that go. It's time for that version of you to be gone because there's a new version of you inside that's ready to be revealed. the highest version of you. But we can't see that if we don't even listen to our emotions and check in with what it is Spirit is trying to get us to see. We'll never see the highest version of us if we're still stuck in the old version of us who is still living in fear, stuck in situations and spaces that are not in alignment with us. This energy is saying it's time to release these things, soulmates. And I know it's not easy, especially when you're making a choice to walk away from a person, or if you're walking away from an environment. For people that have always lived, for example, in their hometown or lived in the neighborhood with just family, and then you have to make the choice where you have to leave, it can be hard. Or if you have to walk out of a relationship that you've been in that you thought was going to last forever, it can be hard. Absolutely. But don't you know that when you get through the hard stuff, what's on the other side is so much better and worthy? It's beautiful once you get through it, but you got to be willing to get through it. And you're capable, soulmates. You're strong. You already have everything in you to get through it. You don't even know your own strength because you never allow yourself to try to go through it. Your spirit is shifting, soulmates. Whether you know it or not, your spirit is shifting. All of our spirits are shifting. Our spirits have been shifting really since the pandemic. Here we are 5 years later, 2019, 2020, that was just the beginning. Now it's 2025 and it is loud and it is fast. And I told you before, we're manifesting in real time. So your words have power, your thoughts have power, everything has power. Everything is spiritual now. It's all linked. Think about it. The relationships. If you're not even in the right relationships, you can't even attract the right money, abundance. I realized I was in situations and they was blocking me from my financial blessings. And once I got it, I said, okay, Spirit, I know once I close this door, I know that everything that I've went through this year was not for nothing. I struggled a lot this year financially, but I never gave up because I knew that there was going to be something on the other side. Just keep having faith, soulmates, that whatever you're going through right now is not the end of your story. In fact, this is the ending to your new beginning once you go through it, once you grow through it. Your emotional intelligence is expanding. And everything that you know is not in alignment, you're feeling it. You feel it. You know you feel it because people around you probably feel it. You may be walking around now resenting people and you don't even know why. And it's nothing against them. It's just you that's different. And it doesn't mean that person is good nor bad. We are just two different people. But I still love us both. And let me just be honest and express how I really feel. So when you allow yourself to let these things go, soulmates, you go through the release, now you can step into the rebirth, the rise after the release. Because soulmates, once something releases, something else better comes along. I say it again, something else better comes along. It does. Rebirth isn't just a moment. See, it's the shift inside of you. There's this quiet clarity, this deeper understanding that says, this, what I thought I wanted, is no longer me. So let me figure out what's next for me. Because I realize now I am free. I feel liberated. I've never felt more free, more at peace, more empowered to speak my truth. I've never in my entire life. Rebirth happens when your spirit stops negotiating with your old life. What are we negotiating with the older version of us for? That's what's so powerful about being humans. We can grow and we can evolve at any given point. All we got to do is just make the conscious choice and then put forth the effort to do the work. And this month, December, is bringing that kind of rebirth up for a reason, to show us the way that we've been thinking, the way that we've been choosing people, the way that we've been allowing love or receiving and giving love are all different now. But how are you honoring yourself, most importantly? Because even that looks different. For most of us, we wasn't honoring ourselves. We didn't honor ourselves. We just gave, and gave. Pour, and give. I'm not honoring me first. I'm just going to keep doing this. Wake up, do it again. I'm going to give my 110% at work. And then I'm going to go home and I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to go to sleep exhausted, tired, burned out, emotionally out of balance, and I can't sleep. And then I'm going to wake up and do it again. At what point do you sit with your soul and your spirit and yourself and say, wait a minute, this is not working. I am not happy here. This is not about becoming someone new. This is the highest version of you. This you is already inside of you. They're just waiting on you to call on them, tap them in. Isn't that what they do at what's that, wrestling? What was it called? You tag them in, now it's time for them to get in the ring. Your highest version of you is waiting to come out, to be revealed. Because it's about returning to yourself. See, that version of you that the pain covered. The version of you that had to survive. The version of you who had to be small, who had to silence their self to survive. The version of you that was molested. The version of you that was a people pleaser. The version of you who heartbreak dimmed your light. Or the responsibility of carrying everybody else buried it. Because once your mind settles, once your nervous system calms down, your spirit starts to speak louder. Your intuition is clearer. The things you tolerated, they're no more. Because you realize that the things you were tolerating were making you feel heavy. The things you ignored, they're probably standing out now more than ever because you can't ignore it. You can't outrun your truth anymore, soulmates. Spirit is putting the mirror up like this saying, are you sure this is the life you want? Are you sure you're happy with this version of you? Are you sure you're happy with this person? Because people are starting to reveal their true selves. Your true self is also being revealed to you too. Clarity is now the new normal. So you see yourself clearly. What wasn't clear to you before, soulmates, but it's clear to you now. Hey, Kay, and onward. So timely. A pleasant interruption from the mood I was previously in. Oh, thank you, Kay. Thank you for the heart, soulmates. Lisa says, I'm working on leaving my job. It's so toxic. There's a lot of toxic jobs out there, Lisa. I get it. I left corporate last April. I understand. Especially now more than ever, it's more toxic. Why? Because the world has gotten more toxic. Because the first thing that happens is when we're in a financial crunch as a collective, who gets affected the most? The employees. Corporate America is going to come down on you so hard. Why? Because they're stressed. They're overwhelmed. Everybody's living on edge because they don't know if they're going to have a job. And now here we are putting our livelihood, our emotional and mental well-being, financial well-being in somebody else's hands. And that's the other way Spirit is getting our attention and saying, wake up, because this job is not guaranteed. No job is guaranteed. So if this job leaves, what is your plan B? How are you going to make a living? And I know that's a hard thing to admit, but that's the reality. I knew the layoffs would be coming. I said this months ago, and here we are. And they keep trying to make it seem like it's getting better, but it's not. This is just, well, we'll see what happens next. But saying that to say, again, 2025, anything that's not built on a solid foundation has crumbled. If your relationship wasn't stable, it's crumbling. If that job is not stable, it's crumbling. And if the job gets removed, allow Spirit to remove the job, because Spirit is trying to reveal something to you. As fearful as that is, because trust me, I get it. I've been there several times. Yes, stay prayed up, but also figure out what your passions are, what your strengths are, what your gifts are. Because I guarantee you, Lisa, you have something in you right now that you can actually make a living off of that you might not even know yet. Because that's the way spirit is. Spirit is powerful. Spirit is a wonderful being. The way that we were created, soulmates. See, we got everything inside of us to make a living. We can make food. We can do everything we've ever needed to do. But society, conditioning made us feel like we had to rely on them for our safety, for our stability, our well-being. So I understand how you feel, and I get that. But absolutely continue to stay prayed up and allow spirit to respond. Because we'll say the prayers, but we don't allow spirit to respond, nor do we pay attention to the responses and the answers. Clarity is the beginning of the rebirth, soulmates. So once you go through that rebirth, you no longer choose from fear. You're no longer choosing from loneliness. You're not choosing from some old bad habits. You stop choosing from that wounded version of you, the inner child in you. You start thinking from your highest self when you start to choose alignment, when you start to choose differently. Your decisions carry your destiny, soulmates. It shows up in your boundaries. It shows up in how boundaries you are. And I know boundaries has been a word that has been said more and more this year, but it's truth to that. Emotional boundaries is something I had to learn. Decondition is the move. Positioning myself always to show spirit to respond. Yes, Kay, that's it. Because spirit does respond. Oh, and it will. If you ask, soulmates, be prepared for the answers. Be willing to set the boundaries rooted in emotional intelligence, self-respect, spiritual awareness, clarity, inner peace, all the things that we are deserving of. It's our birthright. We were meant to have peace of mind. Our spiritual connection with Source has always been inside of us. We always had that connection. I didn't know that. Somebody else told me I have to go to church to get a spiritual connection. But that's not true. I learned that now. I learned that God is in me wherever I go. I find Source in everything. See, once you've gone through the rebirth, the awakening, you no longer let everything or everyone have access to you. What did I tell you, soulmates? People don't even know where I'm at now. My son does. But certain friends and family, they have no clue. And it's not because I'm doing it on purpose. It's just because, well, realistically, I'm just not in communication with them because of where I'm at now in my life. And it doesn't mean that I love them any less no more. And I know that they love me still the same. But you got to allow spirit to let certain relationships, friendships, family relationships, they have to shift because you're shifting. And you do have to set different type of boundaries now. What I tell you, peace is the most powerful wealth. I don't care how much money you have. If you don't have peace, you're broke. So you have to set boundaries to protect that peace by any means. Your boundaries are sacred. Exactly, Jen. Exactly. And when you shift, soulmates, your connections shift. Some connections, they disappear. They go away because it's time for them. The chapter has closed. They've served their purpose. Some relationships will deepen. Some relationships will transform. And like I said, some just fall away gracefully. Some may return with a new alignment. But regardless of what happens, it's never a loss. And most often it's not anything to be afraid of because it's really a redirection that was protecting you. So allow it to fade. Allow yourself to walk away from people, things, experiences that don't feel in alignment with who you are and who you're about to become. Rebirth shows up in your voice. See, you're no longer afraid of speaking your truth. You're no longer afraid of telling people what your needs are, what you will and will not tolerate. You stop dimming your light to accommodate somebody else. Most importantly, you stop minimizing your truth to make somebody else comfortable. How does that work, soulmates? How do we minimize ourselves to please somebody else? When you think about it, it sounds really crazy a little bit. It's like, really? Why would I do that? How does it make me feel? Your voice is not a risk. It's a return. You have a voice for a reason. Utilize it. And if you feel like something right now is awakening in you, soulmates, if a decision is starting to come up right now, or if clarity is landing, then you're exactly where you need to be. You can allow yourself to acknowledge your truth. Because where are you getting ready to step into now? Honor the rebirth that's happening within you. Honor the version of you that's emerging, that's ready to evolve. And what's so wonderful, soulmates, is you don't even have to go through this part alone. That's why I created these spaces. That's why I do the work that I do. To walk with you through this transition, this powerful period of transition in your life, spiritual transition, emotional transition. Because realistically, that's where the healing is. But the healing doesn't end just at the awareness. The transformation doesn't end at just the revelation. Oh no, soulmates. Now we got to integrate all of this. That's where the awakening becomes part of you. Like I said earlier, Lisa, when you go to therapy, and I've been in therapy for years since I was a teenager, and I still struggle with my emotions in my mental health. But I realized the thing that I was missing was the integration, because I did the therapy and I talked, but once I left the therapist's office, there was nothing else happening. I was still living with myself. I was still sitting in the misery because, again, I wasn't checking in with my spirit. I wasn't understanding what my emotions were trying to teach me. That's what the therapist didn't teach me. And they didn't teach me how to integrate all of this that's happening, because realistically, it's an awakening where your healing actually becomes part of your habits. It's who you are. When your clarity just becomes a choice. Spiritual alignment, spiritual intelligence just becomes part of your daily life. That's what integration looks like. How will you live what you now know to be true about who you are? See, that awareness that you have, that's the opening. Then the release clears that. The rebirth is the shift, and the integration is where the alignment takes place. Where that truth you uncover becomes the truth you now live. Where your soul whispers, don't go back to what broke you. When they reach back out, don't go back to it. When your actions match your wisdom, you walk it like you talk it. And it's not about being dramatic. It's just about showing up as who you really are now. The moment when you choose differently, because you see differently, you think differently, you love differently. It can show up in the smallest little routines. Integration looks like you resting when you're tired, not giving more than you can give. Choosing to say, I'm not going to go out today. I'd rather stay alone and sit in peace and quiet over the noise and the chaos. How many people live with FOMO, the fear of missing out on something? I was never that person. And I'm grateful that I'm not now, because now I can make a conscious choice and say, no, I'm okay. I don't mind being alone. I had somebody ask me that. You don't mind being there alone? I don't. Why you don't invite me to go to the gym with you? I like to work out by myself because I like to be there for 2 hours. I'm not bothering anybody. That is my time. That is my peace. Because I'm taking care of my energy. That's what integration looks like. You choose your truth. You take care of your energy. You listen to your intuition. And you give yourself space before reacting when somebody oversteps a boundary or when your emotions are out of balance. So when you've integrated the healing and you've done the work and you've realized you are powerful and you are capable and nobody can control you, you won't have to react before allowing yourself space to feel what you're feeling. And if you make that choice, you also have to hold yourself accountable to making sure that on a daily basis, how do I keep myself in this space? Because you will get tested and not every day will go smoothly. Because as you see, the energy shifts, the planets shift, things go into retrograde, and not every day you will be consciously aware. So, what daily shifts do you have to make to keep yourself in alignment with who you're becoming? You have to have healthy routines. The integration shows up in who you allow access to you. Again, we have to be conscious about who we're around, who's in our space. And this month especially that's been so loud to me. It's been so loud and clear because the more I'm going out now and I'm speaking and I'm meeting with different people, again, I'm being very conscious about the energy, the people that I interact with. Because the integration means choosing people who match the peace that you're building, not the chaos you've outgrown. The minute I see chaos, pay attention to the red flags. The minute I see it, that's my intuition saying, you saw what you saw, now what are you going to do? Are you going to continue to allow it? Are you going to speak up? Are you going to set a boundary? Are you going to walk away? You have so many choices, but you have to make a choice. Not making a choice is where we stay stuck. Think about the people that are around you. The 5 closest people to us are a reflection of us. And right now I only got about 3 people that are close to me at this point. Because I'm so conscious about the energies around me. Thanks, Kay. Voice is not a risk. We are so powerful. God gave us a voice for a reason, to speak. So why are we holding back? Especially to family and friends, because they love us and we love them. So let me speak my truth. No matter how uncomfortable it may make them, it's making me even more uncomfortable by holding it in. So be honest about the relationships you're in. Ask yourself, who actually supports my alignment? Who's interrupting it? When I realized the situation I was in recently was no longer in alignment, it was clear. I said, we're no longer in alignment. So when it ended, I wasn't shocked. I said, I agree, because this is no longer in alignment. It doesn't feel good for me. And I accept that. See, that answer right there, that will change your relationships. But everybody is not willing to be that honest, because we will wear the rose-tinted glasses and we'll keep trying to fake it until we make it. Because most often than not, we're afraid of being alone. A lot of people are afraid of being alone. A lot of people are afraid of sitting with themselves. If you can't be alone with yourself, then why would somebody else want to be around you? If you can't enjoy your own company. Integration shows up in the conversations that you finally have. The real conversations. The conversations that may get vulnerable. The conversations that this has been on my heart for a while now. Those types of conversations that we've been avoiding. Integration is trusting that the truth is creating clarity. And let me ask you, soulmates, if today was your last day on earth, and if there was something that you needed to share with somebody, what would you say? Would you share it with them? Because we always think tomorrow is promised, but it's not. So if you had the opportunity and something that needed to be shared with somebody today, why wouldn't you do it? Your voice is part of your healing. So don't silence it, soulmates. Keep telling them that's our power. The integration shows up in how we are talking to ourselves, how we communicate, how we love, the habits that we are no longer going to feed. Integration looks like no longer overthinking situations. Trust your gut. Don't try to talk yourself into another response. No longer rescuing people emotionally. No longer trying to get in where you fit in just to be liked. And no longer responding to old triggers the same way. That's what's so powerful about healing. Because once you've done the work, see, and what I teach people It's how to understand their emotional triggers, so then it's no longer a trigger. Because for me, I had a huge abandonment wound. It took me years to realize that I don't have to be afraid of this abandonment wound because nobody's abandoned me because I'm never alone. I have me in spirit first and foremost. But most often than not, we don't realize that. We don't even realize what our triggers are because we really don't even understand our emotions. Except I'm not happy, I'm sad, or I am happy. But what about the other things in between? And why is it? Why is it like that? When you start to integrate all of the healing and the evolving, when you've done the work, you start to see these things. You start to ask yourself these things. Then those old habits no longer show up. The triggers, they're not triggering because you see it. Your level of self-awareness has evolved, so you see the good parts. You see your light and your dark. So you know your shadow self. You've done the shadow work. So now you show up differently for yourself. Are you showing up for your emotions? Do you allow yourself to feel your emotions? How are you showing up for your own needs, soulmates? Are you speaking up for yourself? Are you telling people what you won't tolerate? Do you ask for what it is that you need? Do you ask? Half of us can't even ask. And I understand why we're afraid of judgment. We're afraid of people saying no. But what if they're in a position to help us? And I believe that people need people. So if you need the support, ask. Am I being who I say I want to be? And what would showing up for yourself look like, soulmates? If you showed up for yourself now, how would that look? Because for me, it took me a long time to realize that. How does it look for Kiana to show up for Kiana? Because Kiana keeps trying to ask somebody else to show up for her, but they can't. Because she can't show up for herself. So we can't expect anybody else to show up for us if we don't do it first. Never alone. What does showing up for myself look like today? Not the old version of you. I'm talking about who you are today and who you're going to be tomorrow and in 2026. And if that part is hitting you right now, soulmates, if that's hitting your soul, then you know that that's where the shift is needed. That's what this has all been about. This entire year, Spirit has been holding the mirror up to us, giving us the choice to decide which path do we want to go down. Do we want to go down the path of the least resistance? Do the work to heal, to grow, to evolve, to step into the spiritual awakening? Or do we want to kick? Do we want to scream? Do we want to fuss? Do we want to create chaos? Because then it becomes difficult. Then it becomes more of a distraction. And people can distract you. I realized I was distracted a lot, but no longer can I allow that distraction in my life. I made the choice that I don't want to continue to be distracted. So let me focus on what my heart is calling me to do right now. So if you're feeling that shift, soulmates, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because you realize it now. You're starting to feel and see where you are going through the evolution. You're going through the awakening. You are evolving. And certain things are showing up for you to release it. Finally. It feels so powerful and it feels lighter and you feel freer when you can release that emotional baggage, when you can release certain people. There's a powerful feeling behind that. Any questions, any comments, soulmates? Thank you guys. And if you are enjoying this content, everything that I've shared, feel free to donate. Buy me a cup of tea. I would love that. Energetic exchange is what this is about. Soulmates, I pour into you, we pour back. That's what this is about. And if not, just keep showing up. But please believe, soulmates, that today is the first day of you deciding what needs to shift. We talked about the truth rising. We talked about the release and the rebirth and the integration. But I want to close this off, soulmates, with us being very intentional and honest and present about where we are today. At the beginning of the live, I asked people to check in. Tell me how they feel on a scale of 1 through 5. I had a couple people check in. Those that just joined, feel free to drop your numbers in as well. Because I know that every day is not great and everybody is not okay. That's why Healing Out Loud is here. I created this space for people to see that you're not alone in your struggles. This is a space where we get to honor our emotional and spiritual awakening. We get to grow through this together, soulmates. I've been going through this alone for 6 years before I finally realized that I wasn't alone in this. And then I started finding other people that one way or another went through an awakening. And that's when I realized that this was not by accident. This is not by design. Oh, Spirit is trying to get us to see something. So allow yourself, soulmates, to check in with your bodies right now. How are we feeling? The ladies that checked in earlier with your 2s and your 2.5s, how are you feeling right now? How's your energy? How's your body? Hopefully your shoulders have dropped. Your body feels more settled. Allow yourself to just be present with anything that may have came up for you. Maybe a chord was struck. Maybe something actually hit close to home for you. Just sit with it. And if you want to journal on it, feel free to do so. I also go live on YouTube, soulmates. For anybody that just joined, you can watch the replay on my YouTube channel. I'll add it in the comments. I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to do it anyway. And for those that are not, please do follow me on Insight Timer so you can get the notification of when I'll go live again. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So if you can't get on Insight Timer, you can definitely find me there. But before we close, soulmates, let's take one deep breath in. A real deep breath. Feel it deep, 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 deep in your stomach. And let it out. Let it all out, soulmates. I never realized how powerful breathing is until I finally released this anxiety that I was carrying in my stomach for years. And when I finally took a real deep breath and it actually hit my entire stomach, that was so powerful. I had never experienced anything like that before. I almost got dizzy. But it's a beautiful thing because we don't even allow ourselves to breathe half the time. We don't take deep breaths. We just do shallow breathing. Surface breathing, like we do surface level healing, surface level connections. We got to get deep now, soulmates. Now's not the time to cheat yourselves. Yes, April. Yes, Kay, you can actually donate on my, if you go to my profile in my Insight Timer, you can find my website and the donation links. You can donate on Cash App, Zelle, or you can donate outside of the live too. Because if you have an iPhone, as you know, they will charge us an astronomical amount of money to receive our donations during the live. So you can donate after the live. Thank you for asking. So soulmates, if anything rose up for you tonight, any clarity, any emotions, any truths, or any sensitivity, allow yourself to just feel it. And please know, none of it was random. Again, nothing that is happening has been random. Everything has happened for us. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't even know why they came up with that word, because it's not a coincidence. Everything is divinely guided. We just get to make a choice on which way we want to go, but everything is already written. And I believe we can't get it wrong because it's written. But we get to choose the choice to decide if we want to make it a difficult path or if we're going to take it day by day, one step at a time, and allow spirit to take the lead. Anything that may have anything that may have come up for you tonight, the truths, allow yourself to feel it. And please believe, soulmates, you're not breaking down. You are not losing your mind. You're not crazy. You're awakening. See, the therapist may not tell you that, soulmates, but as a spiritual leader, an emotional intelligence practitioner, I'm telling you that this is a spiritual path that we're on. And everything that is feeling out of alignment emotionally and mentally is happening for spirit to get your attention. so that you can release what no longer holds your spirit, because you're allowed to step into the best, highest version of you that feels aligned, that feels liberated. And you're allowed to speak your truth. The truth your spirit has been whispering all year, the truth that you've been trying to conceal. But see, your truth is part of your power. So stop abandoning those parts of you that are finally ready to wake up. And if you feel called to do so, soulmates, I would like for us to just place our hands on our hearts before we wrap up. Can you just feel your heartbeat? That is a blessing. Feel that warmth. Feel that spirit inside of you. That's beautiful. And I just want you to say softly to yourself, soulmates, I am ready to align with who I am becoming. And keep telling yourself that. Write it down on a mirror, write it down on a notepad, but keep it up as a reminder. Keep saying it to yourself. Meditate on it. Say it until your spirit believes it, until your mind can actually understand it. See, this is the initiation to the new level of you. We're evolving, soulmates. Your spirit is ready to move. This is our time, soulmates. We are in the great awakening, our moment of alignment, our moment of healing out loud. So thank you, soulmates, for allowing me to pour into you about this December energy. But remember, everything is happening for us. And thank you for choosing to show up today. Thank you for being present. And most importantly, soulmates, thank you for choosing you. Because you didn't have to be here with me tonight or morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to show up for you. You didn't just show up for me, because this is not about me. It's about you, soulmates. Because your healing matters to me. I hope it matters to you, because it matters to me, just like your voice matters to me. Your spirits matter to me. Your souls matter to me, soulmates. That's why I call you my soulmates. Most importantly, we're not doing this alone. I told you from the very beginning, soulmates, I'm here to support you in this, because I know that this can be a very fearful, chaotic, anxious time right now when you don't understand what's going on internally, because we haven't been taught how to communicate with our emotions, how to understand our emotions, how to navigate our emotions so that they don't navigate us. But that's what I'm here to teach us, soulmates. So again, if something's shifting in you tonight, don't ignore it. Allow the truth to unfold. And if you're called to do so, soulmates, you can start with my book, Healing Out Loud, because that's exactly where it begins. The healing that I talk about, everything that I've endured, healing through relationship, trauma, grief, physical abuse, all of the things that people never want to talk about out loud. I actually, not only do I share my experience, but it's a workbook to help you start to unpack your emotions. Because this is the only way anything changes, and if we change and say, I want to be better. So if you want to get started with that, feel free to reach out. Start with the book. You can get it on my website. As well as follow me on YouTube. I gave you the YouTube handle. You can also follow me on, I say Inside Time, Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. I'm on all the things, soulmates. Actually, I'm putting it in the chat. If you are on TikTok or what is that? Instagram or Facebook, feel free to follow me. And if you're not, that's okay too. You're an Inside Timer. Thank you for showing up, soulmates. If you want to stay connected, feel free to sign up on my website to my newsletter. I will be doing some things coming up soon, so stay posted, stay close, soulmates. And thank you once again for allowing me to hold this space for your truth and to guide you through these layers of alignment, clarity, and most importantly, emotional freedom. Thank you, soulmates, so very much. Who else do I have here? Who all do I have here? I have 112 meditators. Thank you, soulmates, for joining. Thank you so very much. And again, soulmates, if this space poured into you tonight, if it helped you breathe, release, or understand yourself more deeply, you can always pour back with a donation or whatever the case may be. Every offering helps me hold space for this work that I do. Every dollar that I get goes towards the book, go towards healing, go towards communicating, speaking in communities, teaching children about suicide prevention, suicide awareness. As you guys know, I'm a suicide survivor and advocate. So I often speak to our youth because they're our future and they're suffering the most, and we're not paying attention because we're not emotionally aware nor emotionally capable enough to support them. So when we start to heal our emotions, that's when we heal our children. So thank you again, soulmates. Thank you for choosing your heart, your truth, and let's continue to heal out loud, soulmates. Thank you, Jess in Chicago. Jess, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you, beautiful? Hey, Jessica in Austin. Hey, Paul and Tracy. Hey, Angie. Britt, how are you? It's so good to see you. Soulmates, I haven't seen y'all in forever. Hey, Lisa and Joy. And who else do I have?